Hello and welcome to the Tournament Center. I'm Randy Buehler here with Brian David Marshall. Saturday is in the books at Pro Tour Valencia. 10 rounds have extended. That flood that wiped out day one forced us to have the longest day in Pro Tour history in terms of rounds. It was long.
Not necessarily in terms of time, though.
No, I mean, we've had, computer problems have caused it to go longer. Team Rochester draft has caused it to go longer.
Dave Humphreys has caused it to go longer.
That's fair. It's 10-something. It's not too bad in terms of getting out, but 10 rounds, a lot of Magic got played today. 69 players picked up the 7 wins necessary to get into day 2. I guess 21 points. A couple of them took the triple draw route. Sitting on top, stop the presses, Makihito Mahara,
Reigning
the
world
reigning world champion. Where did he come from?
Well, he's playing
his second Pro Tour of the year. He
Yeah,
took
he's
6 months off because of work. Basically took half the year off. Played Geneva, as I believe the only Pro Tour he's played. I think he actually chose to, he's playing Valencia instead of the Invitational. There comes that Invitational berth again. Could only get 1 weekend off, but there he sits, 9-1. First place on tiebreakers, leading Takayuki Koika, a Japanese player who's not really been a familiar name yet, and Andre Mueller, a German player with a really tight deck. We'll have a deck tech on being posted tomorrow. Anyway, tell me about Mahara's deck.
Well, we talked about it earlier today. It's Orange Stompy. It's Saito's deck.
Okay.
Which was
it's
really
a
only
blue-white Tron deck.
Blue-white Tron deck. It's been called Razor Tron in past PTQ seasons.
And it did not do well for Tamahara
It
Saito.
did not. I got him on an extra point.
Yeah, Saito goes 5-4. Player of the Year race was something a lot of people were paying attention coming into this. Kenji Sumura, Tamahara Saito, 2 superstars going toe-to-toe, 5-4 apiece.
So it's still a dead heat.
They got 3 pro points. Saito keeps the 2-point lead that he had coming in. A couple of Grand Prix and Worlds is all that's left there. Now, it seemed like with those guys limping around, there was a real opportunity for somebody a little deeper down to make a run. For a while, we thought that was going to be Paul Cheon. Started the day 6-0.
He went 1-3 in his next 4 rounds.
Yeah.
He was feeling a little. He looked like he was a little down.
Yeah. 7-3 is not what he was looking for with the 6-0 start. He is through to day 2.
But it is the luxury of going 6-0.
Yeah.
You can afford to take a couple losses and right your ship.
And I guess if he wins, he's still got a chance at top 8. Haven't done the math on X3. I think that's how it works out.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be a scrum of players looking to get in at X3.
And starting out 6-0 means he should have the breakers.
He should have great breakers.
The only other guy from the top of the Player of the Year standings that's still alive is Guillaume Wafatapo. He snuck into day 2 also on 7-3, so got a shot to maybe make some noise, but Kurihara had a chance, failed. Levy had a chance,
he
failed.
Went 0-4.
Yeah, the Pizza Stompy deck did not do well for the couple Japanese that ran it. Kenji ran no stick.
Right.
Didn't really work out well for him. He is on 5-3, still had a shot. No, picked up the 4th loss. So, a lot of Magic. I thought the real story of the day for me was just the deck diversity. It felt like no 3 people were playing the same deck.
Right. It felt like every table you'd see 4 decks.
Yeah,
but
really.
As the tournament went on, we definitely saw that some decks were better than others.
What was your pick for best deck of the day?
I think Enduring Ideal.
I had the same pick.
Enduring Ideal was clearly the best deck. And if it hadn't been doing so well on Moto the past 2 weeks, I think it would have been the default top deck. I think we would have seen it from top to bottom on the top tables. But
people knew how to hate
as you'll see in the deck tech tomorrow that we did, people had Rotom Unicorns, Kami of Ancient Law, Indrik Stomp Powers. The first piece of the puzzle that this deck gets once they cast their Enduring Ideal is Dovescape. And Dovescape locks you out of being able to cast any spells
except creatures.
And so creature enchantment removal was at a premium. There's people with Harmonic Slivers in their sideboard.
Yeah, the guys running that deck are probably lucky. I hear the dealers sold out.
Right.
There was not a Kami of Ancient Law to be found. No more Rotom Unicorns.
People were begging me for Rotom Unicorns. I could have sold Rotom Unicorns for $20 at some point.
$20?
I just didn't have them.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's what happens sometimes. So the metagame takes that twist and the dealers don't have the stack of whatever rare, quirky card happens to be important.
So it's unclear whether the Moto made the deck popular or the deck was but it's clearly the best deck in the tournament. A quiet deck.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far. Clearly the best deck. But still, I was sitting at the top tables.
Quietly, we haven't seen. There's a lot of blue-green Tron.
Yeah, but best deck means there's like 2 of the top 8 or something.
Sure.
I mean, it's okay. There's 2 of them, but it's still a pretty open, pretty diverse field.
Blue-green Tron has been really popular. I don't know. We're seeing a lot of it in the X2 bracket right now.
Yeah.
Sort of a Benjamin Lundquist
Tron did
deck
better
from
than
the
I was
GPs.
expecting. You didn't really see any Psychotog, which has been the classic sort of control deck.
Except for
Cheon ran it, but I mean 7 and 3 wasn't at the top for long. So you saw some
lots
Tron
of
here and there.
recursive mind slavers.
There was a lot of aggro too. I mean, I thought, yeah, Ideal emerged as the best combo deck, I think, and you got these Tron decks running around, but there was aggro everywhere. Herd Apes. There was always Jite sitting in.
Takayuki Koike in second place is playing 5-color Zoo.
Yep. You saw a lot of Bobs running around in those decks. You sort of get the Duress and Cabal Therapy and Dark Confidant, Splash and Black. The dual lands with the Ravnica lands, the fetch lands with Ravnica lands make the mana work.
I was talking to a player earlier today who's sitting on 8 and 2, who played Zoo, and he'd been to a previous extended Pro Tour where he played the Tron deck or the control deck, and he said, you know, I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to go to one of these events. I want to be playing little guys, putting pressure on my opponent, and saying, you can't afford to stumble against me.
True.
And you know, there's a lot of very delicately balanced decks that require getting to 7 mana or getting their Tron assembled, and this deck
didn't see a lot of goblins. That was the other thing. It seemed to be all Zoo.
I think some goblins are going to be on day 2, but
there's a couple. I saw like Kuroda. Nice to see him at the Pro Tour. He snuck in at 7-3 with goblins, but it seemed like Zoo was better than goblins, and Ideal was better than Teps. Those were sort of the, you know, I think you're maybe starting to see favorites out of the individual archetypes, but tomorrow's where we're really going to learn what's going on. 69 players will come back. We're going to play 3 rounds of Swiss Sunday morning. Cut to a top 8. The players, this is pretty interesting. The way the flood has compressed the schedule. 3 rounds of Swiss, 30 minutes of a lunch break, straight into the top 8. No opportunity to test.
Right, that's barely enough time to magic marker up a deck on the back of lands.
No, you're not going to get to test. Those guys are going to get the deck lists kind of over lunch to maybe read so that, you know, there's no hidden information, but no real opportunity to test. I think that's going to reward sort of improvisation and ability to think on your feet in a way we haven't really seen in a constructed top 8, really, ever.
You go to one of these events normally, and overnight these players will, even if they don't stay up all night, they'll petition a Frank Karsten or an Olivier Ruel, and they'll say, please help me figure out how to sideboard this matchup. And you'll have these really, really complicated sideboard plans that develop over 100 match sets sometimes.
Right. And what you're going to see tomorrow is sort of the NASCAR pit stop variety, right? The team's going to come in, there'll be 7 guys looking over the deck list, and then go, right? Should be fun, should be fun. 3 rounds of Swiss, 30-minute lunch break, and then we expect the top 8 to start around 1:30 local time, which is about, what did we figure out, 8:30 on the East Coast of the U.S.? So
4 hours of sleep more for everyone at home.
Going to be a fun Sunday. Brian, David, Marshall, and I will be there. We'll be bringing you the top 8 live. Tune in and find out who's going to win Pro Tour Valencia. We'll see you then.